YouTube. So I got this in the mail today. This is my remote start system by MPC. It's vehicle specific for the Scion 2012 to 2016. And it's supposed to be almost fully plug and play. There is some splicing and wire connections that you need to make, but it uses the factory transmitter on the key, so you don't need an additional key fob unless you want to have that option with a little bit extended range. But this is just the basic one here. This ran $225. Let's open it up and see what's inside. Before we do, looks like you download the installation instructions right there. So let's go ahead and get this thing opened up. All right, we are greeted with most returns occur because of installation error. Figures. All right, so we got, looks like a advertisement for a module to be able to use your smartphone to start your car. That's what I'm gonna do. All right, and here is all the wiring. Look at this rat's nest here. There we go. Let's open it up and see all the different components here. All right, so I got everything unboxed here. You got the main brain here, the module, with all the connectors that need to plug into it. You're not gonna use all of them. As you can see, there's a ton of wires here, but my installation, I looked at the installation manual, only uses a few of them, honestly. You got the programming button there on the side, and then the LED indicator lights as you program to let you know what's going on there. You got a toggle switch, which you can either use or don't use. You don't have to use it to bypass the remote start. You got also the under hood pin to make sure that you don't accidentally start the car with the hood open. I don't install these, I just ground the wire out, so that way I don't have to worry about it, because if I'm working under the hood, I typically disconnect the negative terminal of the battery anyway. It's just a fail safe, so that way when your hood shuts, it allows your car to be remote started, but when you open the hood, it opens the circuit and your car will not remote start. So here's the other harnesses. This is your main harness that plugs into the ignition. As you can see, it's a T-style harness. So that one there plugs into your module, and then you disconnect the harness going into the ignition cylinder. You plug the harness into that end, and then you plug that into the ignition, and you just basically have yourself a T harness there. And then find yourself a good ground for this guy. And then these last three here, again, I think, if I recall it, I only am gonna use like 6 or 7 of these wires, even though there's dozens of wires here. So, don't be intimidated when you see, oh my God, look at all these wires, all the connections I'm gonna make. They're actually very simple, and they're all right there. Most of them are in the OBD connector right there, by your feet. And then another port by the fuse panel right there as well. So should be fairly simple. Just wanted to kind of do a little overview here. All right, so the number one thing you want to do is get rid of as much clutter as you can. So for example, on this harness here, I'm only going to be needing the gray wires, all right? There's 6 wires total. I'm sorry, 5 wires total, but I'm only gonna be needing these 2, which means I can get rid of these 3 wires just to clean up the clutter. And how I'm gonna do that is I'm gonna leave a little bit of space. I'm not gonna trim them down here, but I'm going to trim them, but feather them so that way there's no chance of the bare ends touching each other. And then I'm gonna put electrical tape, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and do it and then show you. There you go. So I trimmed the wires that I didn't need and feathered them in such a way where I did not cut them at the same point. Now when I wrap them with electrical tape, there's no chance of those ends actually touching together and shorting something out. Plus, they're long enough in case, for whatever reason, these are for another accessory that I need to add later or want to add later. They're long enough where I can splice a wire onto there and still use it. There you go. Now for those of you that want extra peace of mind, you can go ahead and put a piece of heat shrink over there and heat shrink it, so that way you don't have to worry about the tape unraveling, which I probably am going to do since I have a lot of heat shrink laying around. Probably not necessary, but I'm going to do it anyway. Why not? All right, so bonus, I just found out that this red harness I don't even need for my application, so I can just go ahead and set that aside. All right, so here's another perfect example. This is a 20-pin harness, but I'm only going to need to use 6 of these wires. So all the other wires I can go ahead and tape off and just worry about the 6 that I need. All right, so here it is. These are the 6 wires right here that I need. The light blue with black stripe, pink with black stripe, yellow and orange. All these others I can go ahead and trim. And yeah, that's it. Pretty cool. Okay, and here's this one. This 20-pin harness narrowed down from 20 wires down to the 6 that I need. All right, so after removing the panels here, here's the ignition cylinder. Here's the main ignition harness that plugged in right there. Basically, I just pulled that out. And then very simply, you got your T-harness. One plugs into where that one came out of, and the other one plugs into there. And then you can route this end down through the steering wheel column, wherever you're gonna mount your module. And voila, there you have it. The harness plugged into the ignition. Now again, just route this through there, wherever you're gonna mount the main brain of the remote start. All right, so got the steering column back together. As you can see, everything snapped there back to the way it was. I got the harness coming through here that's going to plug into the module. Now I'm going to be working on the connections. The first set of connections are going to go into the OBD2 connector. They're going to splice into the wires on the other side of it. So what I've found is the easiest is to just get this plug out of here. There's tabs on each side. Kind of hard to do with one hand. Oh, I got it. There we go. See, now you got a lot more room to do your splicing there. All right, and here's the other harness we're gonna tap into. This one was kind of a pain to get to. Let me try to show you where it was at. So there's the fuse, and then sorry, I'm all disoriented there. You'll see the plug right there in the center of the screen. That's where this plugged into. And just unplug it, it's gonna be a lot easier to work with to find the wires that you need. So literally, these are the only 2 harnesses you need to tap into besides the ignition, and get everything going. All right, so all the wires that need to be spliced into the OBD2 harness have been spliced in. So I'm gonna go ahead and plug that right back to where it belongs. There we go. Now I can go ahead and connect all the wires that need to be connected to this harness, which are only 5 left, and we're set. And for those of you installing in this vehicle, I found a good factory ground point right there for the harness for the remote start. Just take that out, 10mm, put it in, tighten it, ground is done. All right, so there it is, the red light and the blue light. As you hold the programming button, you plug the harness in and you're gonna see red, yellow, blue lights. You release the programming button only when the blue and red lights are illuminated, and they are. All right, so one more note here. This pink wire with the black stripe. If you do not want to use a hood pin, then do not ground it. The switch that they use is grounded when the hood is open. So the circuit is open when the hood is closed. So with that, you do not want to ground this, otherwise the remote start will think that your hood is open. So I'm just gonna cut it, tape it off, button all this up, and be good. It's all good to go. It works. I tested it, and I'll run it through you guys so you can see here once I button everything up. All right, and there's the module there, zip tied in place, bundled up, and gonna be tucked away behind here. Not even gonna see it. All right, there it is, all buttoned up. Good to go. Let's go ahead and give it a test. All right, so how this thing is activated is you need to push the lock button 3 times. And what you need to do is push it every 1 second. I've tried pushing it too quick, didn't work, too slow. It's basically 1, 1,000, 2, 2,000, 3, 3,000, and it starts. Let's go ahead and give it a try. 1, 2, 3. There it goes. Climate control on, which is great. If you want to turn it off, you can go in there, step on the brake, whatever you need to do. You can also hit the lock button 3 times again. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Turns it off. Pretty cool.